I did dance competitions pretending to be Danny Zuko, and I lost in the final. I remember I tried to do the old swing from side to side and up, and I dropped her on her behind, so I lost that one. But, you know, I grew up with all that stuff. Saturday Night Fever and John Travolta, I mean, Welcome Back, Kotter. He was just my idol as a kid. There's this scene in the nightclub that I referred to before, and in between takes, John goes, oh, you know, this is a bit, getting a bit dull in here. Let's turn that music on. And it was about 5-10 minutes. So the music came on, and he goes, come on, everyone dance. So everyone's sort of sitting around and going, John Travolta's asking us all get up and dance. And and John gets up, and he's going through, doing a little... And so, of course, we all get up and dance. And, you know, all of our legs turned to jelly, and there was John. I'm thinking, there's John Travolta, there's John Travolta, you know. I'm about 28 words a minute. I'm definitely no whiz. I spend a lot of time emailing, being Australian, you know, of course, all my friends and family in England, I'm sort of emailing all the time. But I'm not that computer savvy. I don't know, I'm not bad at the old Space Invaders and Gallagher and things like that, but and Sony PlayStation 2 I've been getting into, but basically the world of Stanley is completely foreign to me.
And I do have to catch up with the Joneses here, and I do have to catch up with the 21st century and learn my computer, because I'm way behind on all that. But I do appreciate the value of the computer, and it's certainly making various aspects of my life much more confrontable and much more understandable, especially in finances and things. Mm-hmm. And access to what's going on in one's life and other people's life is also quite valuable with the computer age.
I play with the computer. I mess around on the computer, but you know, no, I'm not. I don't get into like trying to break into NASA or the, you know, the Pentagon. No. My daughter's, you know, becoming much more adept at it than we are. But you know, it's for me, it's still kind of that thing that, you know, I use it as a word processor more than anything else.
A funny story is one day the three of us were on the set, John, Hugh, myself, and we were spewing out all these computer words, right? And I'm thinking in my mind, oh my God, I'm the biggest idiot. I don't even know what I'm saying. And I thought, surely they know what they're saying. So finally at the end of the scene, I said, you know what? I don't even know what I'm saying. Do you guys understand this stuff? And they're like, oh God, no, we don't even know what we're saying. We're just saying it. And I thought, well, good, I'm not the only one that like is clueless, because the level of understanding and knowledge of these characters, I mean, is way above the average Joe. So, but in my real life, you know, I email, I'm on different sites all the time. You know, I'm able to, you know, do my business on there. And so I feel good.
I had dinner a little while back with my agents. We were kind of just getting together, kind of to celebrate the success of X-Men. And he said, I've just had this script come in, and he explained this scene to me. I said, what's it about? And he said, let me just talk you through this scene. He said, you're a computer hacker, and you get brought into this situation, and you're offered $100,000 just to go and talk to this guy. You have no idea what it's about. And so you go. No strings attached, you go, and as you go, the scene accelerates where he asks you to try and crack a code, sort of for the hell of it, just in front of him. And, you know, of course, I can't, the story goes that I can't touch a computer. That's part of my parole. So I say I can't. He says, well, why don't we give you a little bit of incentive? And he pulls a gun to my head, and then the girl next to me sitting there, whose name is Helga, decides to do certain things to me that would be very distracting if you were trying to crack code or do anything, really. And plus I've had about 4 shots of tequila, and he gives me 60 seconds to crack this code. So anyway, he's talking through this scene. I said, this is an unbelievable scene. And he said, well, have a look at the script. So I grabbed the script, and then he rang me the next day, and I was on my way to shoot Animal Husbandry. And the director, Dom Senna, and Jonathan Crane, one of the producers, said, we want to meet with you, because we have to meet. It's sort of between you and some other people. And so he actually came and met me at the first class lounge at United Airlines at LAX, and sat down with me and just went through the whole story. And I said, Dom, I haven't even read the script yet. I'm really sorry, I've heard about it and it sounds fantastic. And he said, well, I really want you to do it, have a read. Got on the plane, read the first 3 pages, and I turned to my wife and I said, I've got to do it. I mean, that opening is so brilliant. And that was it. That's how it came about. It happened so fast. So it was kind of refreshing because at the time I was reading a lot of scripts and was getting offered some things and I was humming and ahhing about it. And the moment I read this one, I was like, yep.
Here's a funny story. This scene, I talked about with Joel Silver, our producer, and I was nervous about it. And he said, okay, I'm going to close the set. You'll do it real quick. We got it all down to a science. Take your top off, bam, bam, bam. It'll be done. I had to do it 3 times. 3 days, not 3 times. 3 days I shot this scene. The first day, they only got the wide shot because it started pouring raining. The second day, they only got Hugh's close-up because he wanted to start first to give me time to warm up. It started to rain again. I had to come out and do it the 3rd day, and they finally got my close-up. So the scene that scared me to death, I ended up, by the 3rd day, I was like, okay, whatever, let's go, let's shoot. I was so over it that I think that will help the scene, my energy that day.
So I mean, of course, I was excited. I mean, it's hard for me not to get excited. I mean, this is my whole life I wanted to make movies, so I got here. I'm luckily, I've been able to keep doing this. Is number 38 for me, so I produce a lot of pictures. But I always think that could be my last one. So the next time I'm always so happy that we're doing it. So yeah, I love the process.
Now, Joel Silver, of course, is a very famous producer for action films, Lethal Weapon and Matrix and other types of films like that. So he's famous for promoting his films in a very unique way. And I felt that was an asset to have if you're going to... I really only feel you should do these action type films if your guns are loaded, and I mean that metaphorically.
Being not from Hollywood, I pictured him to be complete Hollywood. Whatever that is. I expected the convertible Porsche to pull up and all this. And when I came on set, there was one looming black trailer. And I said, who's that trailer? And I said, that's Joel's. He owns that. And I thought, oh, this is all fitting in. When I met Joel, he's really relaxed. He was like wearing a leisure suit. He was like coming and he just came straight up. He goes, hi, now let's talk about... I'm not doing his impersonation now. But he said, what are you going to do, an American accent? Do an Australian. I don't care. I worked with Mel, and it doesn't matter if it's Australian or whatever you want to do. And I said, no, I want to do American. It's important for his past. And he looked at me and he goes, okay then, good.
There's a lot of action, and I think that look, we've all been guilty, probably me more so than others, of making just kind of, cheesy action movies where, a lot of gunshots and car chases and explosions and fistfights. I can't say I hate those movies. I mean, I like them. I've made a lot of movies like that. But I think we got to bring more to the table. And I think that what we did in Swordfish is we did that.
I don't know if immediately I know it's right for me, but I may know immediately that aspects of that character are right for me. Because first I want to make sure it's a good movie. Because there's a few movies I've done, like General's Daughter and Face Off and Get Shorty, where I knew I could do the character, but I wanted to work on the script to make it a great movie first, and then I would add my flair or whatever you want to call it to the part. Secondly, I knew Michael immediately. I knew Phenomenon immediately, and the rest I think I had to work up to, meaning, how would I do this part? Okay, now if I changed this, then maybe I could do that with this, and then I kind of worked on it and that was one of this here. I mean, the opening speech in this movie where I'm sitting at a Starbucks-like coffee center, and I'm pontificating about movies, and in particular, Dog Day Afternoon, that I knew I loved immediately. It was the rest of the movie that I had to kind of work into the same concept as that to make it all work for me.
Well, I like the possibility of maybe doing some fly fishing in Oregon. I wasn't, and also, I mean, I like the notion of playing just a flat out corrupt senator. You know, that also appealed to me a little bit. But yeah, the fishing was definitely a perk. Well, unless you fly fished, it's ridiculous to talk about, I think. You know, I mean, it does from the outside seem a little silly, you know, like golf might if you don't play it, you know. I mean, I can see, like, if you'd never done it, that it would look ridiculous because it's the costume and the vest and the hat and all. You don't necessarily have to wear all that, you know. You can go with a T-shirt and a pair of jeans, but, you know, I mean, it's usually seen as this sort of esoteric, very precious sort of thing, but it's actually it's pretty simple. I think it's a lot simpler than the mystique surrounding it. You know, it's been made to seem like a very esoteric art. Yeah, there's a very definite rhythm, and there's it's just amazing. It's just great to stand in a river, I'll tell you, and even if you don't catch anything.
I think the challenge to pushing the envelope is always there, you know, especially in a big budget picture like this. You know, when you read Car Chase, you know, or Shootout, and you go, oh, I just did that in my last movie, you know, and a lot of people have done it very well in the past. You have to look at it and say, what can I bring to the party? You know, how do I put a spin on this? How do I deal with it differently? You know, what's my perspective on it, you know? So yeah, I think each of those sequences, again, going back from the very first action beat in the movie when it says kaboom, that, you know, my take on when this woman actually explodes, the hostage explodes, that you see it from in the perspective of everyone involved in that moment. So it happens in a second, but it takes 30 seconds to go around and see it. I thought it was a good sort of way to sort of kick it off. And then you do that each time. There's a foot chase, you know, and he goes, oh, foot chase, and you go, okay. I've seen Eddie Murphy, you know, run down the hallways and up the staircases and onto the roof, and, you know, and you've seen so many foot chases. How do we do something different there? And I think it was sort of an interesting answer to that when the sort of, you know, the foot chase becomes this tumble down this hillside, you know, and I thought that was sort of interesting. The car chase, I think, has its own sort of unique spin on it, and I think Travolta comes off very well in that, you know.